Hi, it's Jennifer Willett, Director of INCUBATOR Art Lab at the University of Windsor. For the next 2 months, my team members and I will be doing the Sundays in the Studio workshops for the AGW.
Hello, my name is Ashley Hemmings. I am an artist, researcher, and gallery worker currently living in St. John's, Newfoundland. I'm so excited to be here today for Sundays in the Studio with the Art Gallery of Windsor, and I'm here today on behalf of INCUBATOR Art Lab, where I work as a research assistant. I am going to be sharing a natural dye demonstration with you all, wherein I will show you how to make dye with natural materials and how to use that dye to color fabrics or yarn. If you are interested in more of these types of bioart demonstrations, INCUBATOR Art Lab will be hosting a number of these Sunday in the Studio sessions, so stay tuned. First of all, we're going to need something to make the dye with. Today I am using onion skins. I also have some turmeric puree, and I have some fresh beets. The next thing that we need is something to apply the dye to. In my case, I have these little bundles of wool. You can use whatever you want, but it needs to be explicitly a natural fiber. Lastly, you will also need a pot or a couple of pots, some spoons, water, and access to a stovetop. In terms of the procedure, the first step will be preparing the fabric, or yarn, or whatever it is that you're dyeing. If you bought your fabric at a store, you're going to need to wash it and dry it before dyeing it, because fabrics come pre-prepared with starches and chemicals to make them look nice and crisp in the store. And we need to get all of that out of the fabric. This is also the step where you can cut, fold, or otherwise prepare the material to go in the dye bath. If you want to use some tie-dyeing techniques, now is the time to get them ready. For me, the prep meant putting my wool into little balls. The next step is preparing the dye. All we're going to do for this step is take your dye matter, so your plant material, your food scraps, put them in a pot and cover them with water. So just enough water to cover the material. You can add more water, but that will dilute the dye that you'll get in the end. Once the water and the plant matter are in the pot, you're going to put it on the stove and turn the stovetop to high, just until you reach a boil, and then you're going to turn it down to a simmer. When you are happy with the color of the dye in the pot, this is when you can add the yarn or fabric into the pot. You can strain out the solid plant matter before adding the fabric if you like, but I tend to like to leave it in. It's sort of a personal preference thing. And after you add your yarn and fabric, you can leave it in the pot as long as you want. The longer that you leave it, the more concentrated the color will be, and the deeper the color will seep into the fibers of the fabric. I would recommend leaving it for at least an hour, and I would recommend that you check on and stir the pot regularly. When you are happy with the color on your fabric or yarn, you can take it off of the heat, take it out of the dye pot, and bring it to the sink to rinse it. You're going to rinse it in cool water, and you need to rinse it until the water coming off of the fabric runs clear. At this point, you can take it and hang it up to dry. And these are the final results for how my dye experiments came out. This dark yellow is from the turmeric, the dark orange is from the onion skins, and this pale yellow is from the beets. I have no idea why they did that. I guess the exciting thing about natural dyes is that there are so many variables, and it's always a bit of a surprise and an experiment as to what you'll get. I'm really happy with this. I've never had this happen before, and I think it's pretty fun. I'll add some extra footage or some photos of the yarns outside in the natural light, so you can get a really good idea of how they actually look. But yeah, I'm pretty happy with how that turned out. I did this all within one afternoon, and you can easily do it in one afternoon as well with some kitchen scraps or plant matter from around your house or your own property. Big thank you to the Art Gallery of Windsor for having me here today, and stay tuned for more bioart fun from INCUBATOR Art Lab. Thanks everyone.